This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Friday, May 3rd, 2019. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Yesterday morning at about 7 a.m., the Arundel County Police Department was called to Shoreline Boulevard and Bayou Bend Boulevard in Laurel for a hit-and-run accident. When officers arrived on the scene, they found that an 8-year-old child had been struck by a dark-colored SUV while attempting to board a school bus. The SUV did flee the scene initially. The child was transported to a local pediatric center with serious but not life-threatening injuries. The driver did turn himself into the police eventually, and he advised that he did stop the vehicle, got out, but the child had gotten up and run away, presumably to go home. Once the child ran off, the driver got back into his vehicle and continued on his way to work. The driver was charged with leaving the scene of an accident, and that's just a traffic violation. And the police do say that the accident was caused by pedestrian error as the driver was driving in a lane where he was not required to stop for a school bus. So that would be a divided highway there. A little bit later after this incident, I was having an online conversation with County Councilman Andrew Pruski, and I suggested that why can't the school district require cameras on the buses to capture incidents like this, and certainly the vehicles that pass buses when they shouldn't be. And to further that, to have some legislation which would enable the police to ticket people that were caught on camera to do that, creating another revenue stream. He said he is going to be submitting some questions to the Office of Law, and Anne Arundel County Delegate Heather Bagnall chimed in, and she said she was very interested in following this as well. So there may be some tightening up of the laws coming down the pike, so you want to stay tuned for that. A 17-year-old boy was robbed at gunpoint at the Marc Rec Center on Tuesday evening in the city of Annapolis. He was outside with 3 other males, and one of the 3 pointed a handgun at the teen and demanded his bag. And the teen had been in the recreation center's outdoor basketball courts and had been hanging out with the 3 for a few minutes before he was robbed. He did report that he had a pair of Apple AirPods in his backpack, and when the 3 told the teen to leave, rather than causing a scene, very smartly, he just did. And I guess we can all be very thankful that all he lost was a bag and a pair of Apple AirPods. Arundel County Sheriff Jim Frederick's office is warning about a new scam. Apparently, somebody calling themselves Deputy Chad Jones from the Arundel County Sheriff's office has been calling people, asking to send them preloaded money cards to satisfy arrest warrants. While I can't believe it bears repeating, apparently it does. Don't ever fall for anybody looking for preloaded money cards or Target cards or Apple cards or anything like that. That's not how any legitimate company or legitimate law enforcement would operate. The sheriff's office did say that you're never to provide any personal information to the caller. If you are concerned about an outstanding summons or a warrant, you can always call the sheriff's office at 410-222-1490. And if you have been a victim of the scam, or if you have been potentially victimized by the scam, you are encouraged to call the Anne Arundel County Police Department at 410-222-8610. And for those that are confused, the sheriff's office serves warrants. The police department investigates crimes. The big news yesterday was Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh has officially resigned. She submitted a letter of resignation through her attorney, Stephen Silverman, who held a news conference at his office in downtown Baltimore. Mayor Pugh was not in attendance, and in a prepared statement read by her attorney, she said, "Dear citizens of Baltimore, I would like to thank you for allowing me to serve as your 50th mayor. It has been an honor and a privilege. I am sorry for the harm that I have caused to the image of the city of Baltimore and the credibility of the office of the mayor. Baltimore deserves a mayor who can move our great city forward." On the resignation, Governor Larry Hogan said that it was the right decision as it was clear that the mayor could no longer lead effectively. The federal and state investigations must and will continue to uncover the facts. Now that does leave current mayor, who just became mayor this afternoon, former council president Bernard Jack Young, to serve out the rest of Pugh's term, which will be up in 2020. Hey, it is May, and you know what that means, right? You probably don't. It's Maryland Podcast Month, and this is the brainchild of Brian Griffiths and Greg Klein over at Red Maryland. It's the second year they've done this, and what they wanted to do was to bring up the podcast game in the area. And they brought a bunch of us together from all different walks to really help promote local podcasts. I'm going to try and feature several of them throughout the month of May, and I encourage you to give them a listen. As with most podcasts, you can subscribe for free wherever you get your podcast. Usually it's Apple Podcasts, which used to be iTunes, Google Play, but there's plenty of other podcatchers out there. So give them a listen. And I'll tell you what, Up right now is the Marc and Lowell Show, and that's Marc with a C. Have a listen.
This week on the Marc and Lowell Show.
I was telling Mark, it's just so bizarre. And I did this when I worked for the Redskins radio broadcast. It was the same way when you went into the locker room. It's all reporters. And, there's male reporters and there are female reporters.
Yeah. Sure.
And the locker room is a locker room.
Right. It's a men's locker room.
There are grown football players, men,
right,
buck naked, flapping around, or whatever. It's a locker room.
Big athletic men.
Yeah.
Jewish men.
I just found it so bizarre. Like, I was trying to think if the tables were turned, if this was like a women's basketball team. To me, it would make me uncomfortable.
Of course.
It's just going
Some
on.
dudes are
just all
like,
flapping
I guess
around.
They don't care.
Yeah, flapping around.
Just like so confident.
I did notice that some players were trying to be respectful, and
they tuck it between their legs.
Actually, there's...
Resistance is futile. It's the Marc and Lowell Show.
Okay, and that is about it for the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief today. Please make sure you check out that first link in our show notes because it gives you all the different ways to connect with us. If you're someplace where you can leave us a rating or a review, please do that and give us a recommendation to your friends, family, and colleagues. That would be much appreciated. It is Friday. We do have our list of things to do. We also have George Young with your local DMV weather, as we have every day, and that's all coming up after I have a few words with you about Macmedics up in Severna Park. Have you ever been to the Annapolis Mall when it opens for the day? Maybe you've noticed the line of folks waiting to get into the Apple Store. As you may know, I'm a Mac user, and today's episode of the Daily News Brief, in fact, all of the episodes of the Daily News Brief have been produced right here on my Mac computer. What you might not know about is Macmedics. They were founded here in Annapolis in 1989, and they are an Apple-authorized premium service provider, the only one in the Baltimore-Annapolis, D.C. area. And what that means to you is that they repair all Apple devices, including the iPhone screens and batteries, all without an appointment. And most repairs are done the same day, usually within 2 hours. They also sell everything except the iPhone and the watch for the same price as Apple. I don't know why you would go anywhere else. Give them a call at 410-757-MACS, or if you're not into the whole letter thing, 410-757-6227. Stop by their retail store in Severna Park on Benfield Road, or their service center in Lanham, right off of Route 50. Or you can always check them out online at macmedics.com. I'll tell you, they've saved me quite a few times, and I know they can save you.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Friday, May 3rd. Temps really jumped up nicely yesterday into the 80s before some strong to severe thunderstorms moved through in the afternoon hours, and today could be a bit of a repeat as temps should be near 80 degrees again, if not a bit above, and there's another chance for PM showers and storms before what will likely be a cooler and rainier weekend on the whole, as temps drop down just a bit into the 70s with showers and storms likely Saturday, especially in the PM hours, while highs Sunday might only be in the upper 60s to low 70s with more showers likely. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great weekend out there despite any rain that might fall. And be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google app stores. And also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Next thing I know, they stopped and they put a spotlight on us. And he said, if you're going to do it, you better do it now. And there we were. It was
and he dropped.
Me and her.
He dropped on one knee,
and
I stopped breathing right there.
And all of a sudden, there's thousands of people, and they're clapping and they're yelling.
Say yes!
She said yes, and everybody heard it. They went nuts.
I'm Steve Samaras of Zachary's Jewelers. That was Michael and Juliana's story of yes. Start your story with Zachary's and beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced Forevermark diamonds at zacharysjewelers.com.
This is Sarah Koenig, host of the Serial Podcast. I'm coming to Annapolis, to Maryland Hall, on Friday, May 17th, for an onstage conversation about how we created Serial, how we make stories, well, how we make them good, and why they matter. I hope you'll come. For tickets, go to marylandhall.org.
Every weekend, there's something exciting going on in the Annapolis area. Be sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net to sign up for a newsletter highlighting all the weekend events. Here are our top picks for this weekend.
Thank God it's...
As I said at the beginning of the podcast, it is May 2nd, which means that Cinco de Mayo is just a few days away, and boy, it is a busy weekend. Hey, it gets underway tonight at Mother's Peninsula Grill over there in Arnold. It is the Blatant 80s dance party. This will be a packed house for one of the best 80s bands in the region, and they get underway at 10 p.m. at Mother's. It will be standing room only, and check this out, no cover charge, so kick off your weekend right at Mother's with the Blatant 80s. Tomorrow, Third Eye Comics has their free comic book day. It is, of course, May the 4th, and they will have 50 free comics to choose from. They're going to have several big releases from different publishers, including the start of one of the biggest things to hit comics in 2019, which is Donnie Coates' huge upcoming Carnage. And if you want to get in on some of the fun, you want to get there bright and early. It starts at 9 a.m., but there will be people lined up, camped out in their lawn chairs. It does get underway at 9 a.m., but people will be lined up way earlier for that. And that is actually where the owner, Steve Anderson, has an awful lot of fun. There's a lot of giveaways, there's a lot of surprises, and everything else for those who are waiting in line. Third Eye Comics tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., free comic book day. It will be a fun time. A little more staid over at the Hammond Harwood House tomorrow. It is the Derby Fest. Yes, you can celebrate the Kentucky Derby at the Hammond Harwood House, which is one of the great colonial Annapolis houses. Now, Annapolis was a huge horse racing city way back when, but this event will feature the Derby, of course, on television, as well as some food and drinks, and it'll be a very nice, refined way to watch the Kentucky Derby. It gets underway at 4 p.m. at the Hammond Harwood House at 19 Maryland Avenue. You can get tickets at the door, or you can get them in advance. You can go to Hammond Harwood House and pick them up there. If you want to head up into Baltimore tomorrow, it is the 21st annual Kinetic Sculpture Race, and this is a real freaky kind of a fun thing. It's put on by the American Visionary Art Museum, and it is a race through Baltimore of wacky, imaginative, totally human-powered works of art designed to compete over land, a bud pit, and the inner harbor. They've got to be constructed of stuff like used bicycle, gears, parts created by some nut job who tinkers around in the garage. A lot of fun, a lot of creativity, and you can find more information and tickets at avam.org. I did mention that it is Cinco de Mayo, but tomorrow it is Cuatro de Mayo, I guess. But Watermark Cruises is celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and they're really kind of mixing things up on May the 4th. So we've got a little bit of Star Wars along with Cinco D5 Mayo. And this is a cruise on the Harbor Queen with local favorites, Dublin 5. The cruise gets underway at 7:30. It goes till 10:30. There will be partying on the Severn River. You can get tickets at watermarkjourney.com. And this will be a 3-hour cruise with a full bar on board and lots of fun, lots of dancing with one of the local favorites, Dublin 5. Sliding into Sunday on May 5th, actually Cinco de Mayo. Up in the Dina, you've got the Made in Maryland Festival, which is a really cool little festival. I think this is the third year that they've had it. You can get tickets at madeinmarylandfest.com. It's at Kurtz's Beach, which is a difficult word to say. But it is a one-day event that really highlights everything Maryland. Highlights the best and most famous offerings, a completely Maryland-themed festival. If you'd like to celebrate Maryland, that would be the place to do it on Sunday. Also Sunday, it is the first Sunday Arts Festival of 2019, opening here in Annapolis. It is in the first block of West Street and Calvert Street. Actually, it's the first 2 blocks of West Street. Gets underway at 11 a.m., goes till 5 p.m. Hundreds of vendors, musicians, restaurants will be out there serving, all free, and it's a lot of fun. If you are pup-centric, it is the 28th annual Walk for the Animals on Sunday at Quiet Waters Park, and this is hosted by the SPCA of Arundel County. It gets underway at 10 a.m., goes till about 2 p.m. Admission to the park is free. They're going to have a walk through the Quiet Waters Park with your leashed and friendly family pet that is vaccinated, of course. You do it at your own pace. If you want to raise money for the SPCA and your team raises $200 or more, you get a customized t-shirt. There will be a vendor village with all sorts of pet information and pet deals to buy, and they always couple it up with a crazy car show. Again, Sunday at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at Quiet Waters Park. It is the 28th annual Walk for the Animals. And it wouldn't be a Cinco de Mayo if I didn't talk about a Latin place. And actually, let's go to Caliente Grill right down here on Bay Ridge Avenue. One of my favorite Latin places in town. And tonight, they're going to kick off their Cinco de Mayo weekend with karaoke, which is always a lot of fun. Down here on the peninsula, we're a little bit light on karaoke since it left the ebb tide. This gets underway at 8 p.m., goes till midnight. Always a lot of fun. Lots of great food there. And they are celebrating Cinco de Mayo both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday will be off the charts. They're going to have the taco bar. They're going to have tequila specials. So we'll have live entertainment and so much more. If you've not been to Caliente Grill, please make it a point to get there. And to help encourage you to get there, I have a $25 gift card for a random person that sends me an email to info@ionannapolis.net asking for it. I'll pick the winner at, let's say, noon today. Okay, that is it for the weekend. There is an awful lot of things to do. It is a party weekend for Cinco de Mayo, so please, wherever you go to party, please do it responsibly. We want to see you here Monday, but aside from that, happy Cinco de Mayo and have a great weekend.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.